Well, good day. Welcome to another episode of Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Brown. Before we get started, I want you to hit the like button. You're going to like it in advance. Hit the notification bell to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you get the alerts whenever I drop one of these videos. Whoop, there it is. And also make sure you subscribe because oftentimes they unsubscribe you without you even knowing it. And you got to make sure at least once a week to make sure that you still are subscribed to this channel. Because I'm going to start putting out more content every now and then. Now we do have a full raw report that goes on Wednesdays and Saturday nights at 11 p.m. Wednesday night and Saturday night at 11 p.m. I'm trying to look for that spot where I don't compete with people who I like to watch, who I want you to watch. You know, I don't want to compete with the Tim Blacks. I nothing like that, the Jimmy Dores or nothing like that, or Professor Black Truth. I don't want to try to compete with those guys because I'm learning from them. I'm getting understanding from them. And I want people to be free to go back and forth, you know, so I don't want to get in the way. So my time slot is going to be Wednesday nights 11 and Saturday nights 11. Now, I've been banned from live streaming, so it will be pre-recorded. All right, so either you get the full video when it drops, or you're going to get a premiere video where it looks live. Well, not really live. So that's Wednesday nights and Saturday nights, 11 p.m. A full raw report will be on. Today, I want to talk about a subject that's very important. And I'm going to put this gentleman up. Gov Kemp is the current governor of Georgia. He was the former Secretary of State of Georgia, beating out Stacey Abrams for a very close election. And honestly speaking, I fought Stacey Abrams for losing that race. That race was hers to win, and she didn't do the necessary thing that she needed to do to nip that in the bud. I mean, how are you going to run against, or why are you running against the Secretary of State and you're allowing him to stay in that position? Secretary of State runs the election. He runs the polling. He runs the polling station. He can cut them down. He can shorten them. He can redirect them. He runs that. Currently, now that he's governor, there's another Republican that runs that, and that Republican by the name of Raffensperger. These two people right now are currently trying to thwart an effort for the Democrats to get the majority in the Senate, which will put Mitch McConnell in his place. Now, these two gentlemen, bigots as they come. Yeah, I call them a bigot because anytime you do use bigot tactics to suppress the vote, to suppress voters, to make it hard for people to vote, that's a bigot tactic. Currently, right now, they're running a current poll tax, and I just did a video on that, requiring people that in order for you to vote in this runoff, the two runoffs going on in Georgia, don't get me wrong, Orloff, whatever his name, is a corporate Democrat. He's going to probably side. He's against defunding the police. He's against Medicare for all. He's a corporate centric as they come, and they're going to try to push on black people to vote him in anyway, knowing that he ain't going to do nothing for them. Nothing, nada. But they want to use our vote, our power, our strength, our intellect to try to get this person in office, just so they can have so they can claim the victory over the Republicans and get rid of Mitch McConnell. Now, I want Mitch McConnell gone. He has to go. But make no mistake, this man ain't gonna do nothing for you. Now, the brother that's running off used to be the right now his name is slipping me. I'm losing it. Used to be he's the current pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church. He has a better chance. He'll probably do something for the people because he's a community guy. But this other one is corporate as they come. He has corporate aspirations. He has boardroom inspirations. And putting him in office We'll shut Mitch McConnell down, and we have to get another majority leader. But, he's not going to do anything for you. But let me get back to the story between these two fools. You're talking about the governor and the Secretary of State. Two people who will do anything they can to make sure you don't progress. I'm going to read something that this person recently did. Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, slimeball bigot, did something I can't say is good and bad. I think it's important for police to be protected, first responders to be protected. I myself have been a first responder, working security in different firms. It's important for the first responders to be protected. But Governor Brian Kemp, this is according to Capitol Beat News Service, Calhoun Times, signed legislation Wednesday aimed at protecting police and other first responders from bias-motivated crimes in Georgia. From bias-motivated crime in Georgia. Caping a series of controversial moves by state Republican leaders that nearly derailed passages of a separate bill outlawing hate crime. So the governor signed a first responder bill, but the main point of the first responder bill, police officers and the first responder protection bill, is to keep these police officers from bias-motivated crimes. Like I said, I have no problem with you doing whatever you can to protect police officers from true bias-motivated crimes. Whether it's bias-motivated, non-bias-motivated, a crime is a crime. And I don't think anybody should be shot without just cause. And when I mean just cause, I mean you really, really got to believe that your life was threatened. Like recently, the car in Florida, where the guy shot into the car, that boys, and it, I don't know from his standpoint. It may look like the kids was about to run him over, but there's some situations your life is not threatened. Me working on my doorbell and you coming up on me as a police officer, and I turn around with my screwdriver and you shoot me. Yes, folks, these things happen. Let me keep going. The bill Kemp signed into law sets out punishment for those who commit crimes against police officers, firefighters, medics, because of their actual perceived employment as a first responder. Crimes would have to involve serious physical injury or property damage. Now, if you're outright looking for police and firefighters and medics to harm, you need to be punished. But what's the difference between them being punished and people being punished? Are you passing laws, Governor Kemp, that will strictly deal with police officers who do the same thing to their constituents or to their community? How come you ain't pass a law against police officers who would involve serious physical injury or property damage to the community? Let me keep going. Backers of the legislation have highlighted it is as a show of support for police and other first responders amid nationwide protests against police brutality. Now people are standing up in the streets against police officers who commit crime against people in the community, like the George Floyd situation, putting your knee on somebody's neck when he begging for his mama when you could have just put him in the car. Could have put handcuffs on his feet and put him into the car. There's 4 or 5 of you right there, and just put him in the car, close the door, and that's it. backers of legislation have highlighted it is to show support of police. There's nothing wrong with showing support for police officers who show support for their community. If you just got the job because you're aggressive, angry person that have mental issues and you want to use this as a way to exercise your authority and energy and your aggression out on people who you don't like, people are protesting against police brutality and racial injustice. They have prompt tense and times of violent encounter between officers and police. So, you pass a bill. So you're going to pass a bill allowing the police, covering and protecting the police, and punishing anybody who harmed the police, no matter where they are, no matter what they're doing. If you harm a police, you're going to be punished. But if the police officer harm us, they're not going to be punished. So here we are in protest, and the police beating up on one little guy, and 5 of the community decide to jump on this police and beat on him to stop him from beating on a little guy. They're going to be faulted and not the cop. Now, folks, I'm not for violence at all. Cops shouldn't be beating on people for no reason. And people shouldn't be beating up on cops for no reason. Nobody should be touching anybody, period. I have a right to protest, and you have a right to make sure my protests don't get out of hand, whatever they call out of hand, but I still got a right to protest. And if I want to make my mark and go over the line to be a little more aggressive, that's my choice. You apprehend me and throw me in jail like they did in the 60s, but you don't shoot me. See, they sick dogs on us. They beat us with billy clubs. They put high pressure water hose on it. They still doing that today. They did it at the Dakota Access Pipeline. Use water pressure. Took people's arms off. They still cracking us upside the head. They're using rubber bullets. Some of them are literally using batons. Gas. And that's not violent, Kemp? Well, we use that tactic to quell protesters. No, that's still violent. You're attacking us because we won't move. We won't fall back. We press forward in our agenda to get things done. And you're going to pass a law. Like I said, folks, I am not against protection of the police. If you're outright looking for a cop to kill, a cop to harm, a cop to damage, shame on you, and you should be punished. Folks, all polices are not evil, but you do have some evil police. You do have some race soldiers, some bigots as police officers. You do have people, they're part of the Ku Klux Klan, but they hide behind a badge. Late Wednesday, Kemp said he had attended the funerals of far too many law officers who were killed in the line of duty. How many funerals did you attend of community people who were killed by police officers who were on duty? He claims that bill aims to help those who are risking their lives to protect us. You pay them already good enough money. Here in New York, you make almost $100,000 as a police officer. Good gracious, I know the cost of living is high, but Jesus. My ex-wife was a police officer. NYPD police officer. Let me keep going. While some vilify, target, and attack our men and women in uniform, this is Kemp. For a personal or political gain, this legislation is a clear reminder that Georgia is a state and unapologetically backs the blue, Kemp says in a statement. Well, Kemp, there are people who are vilifying and targeting and attacking men and women in the streets for protesting, for standing up for their constitutional rights. And we can't help that sometimes we're going to have to do it from the grassroots in the street, and sometimes you're going to have to do it through the political spectrum. But it has to be done. Are you passing legislation to remind Georgia that they apologetically support people? Or did you pass any kind of bill that reminds police departments and remind Georgia that it unapologetically backs black? The bill critics immediately lashed out at the governor Wednesday, noting Georgia law already has enhanced penalties for crime committed against police and arguing its intent to dampen the recent protests that have rocked the country and Georgia City since June. Now, I was going to go over the bill, and this is right. There are currently laws right now that has extreme measures of protection for law enforcement officers, but no laws that have extreme protection for the people out on the streets against law enforcement officers. And when I say that, I mean law enforcement. There's no laws that rein in police from harming the community. It's free will when it comes to the cop. Oh, yes, free will. I mean, you coming out from Popeyes or Burger King, and I stop you, and you're afraid and scared that you're going to go back to jail, and you're trying to go back home to your kids, and they continue to press you to try to get some kind of report on their paperwork or file, because you know they're still doing quotas. So they're going to keep badgering you, hoping that they can do a breathalyzer test on you when you've told them, no, 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 I'll walk home. Leave my car here and I'll walk home. Did you think about that, Kemp? Did you think about them killing that man all because he was jogging home from his mother's house? Using the lame excuse that he was looking into a house? Folks, when I was in the Navy and I aspired to be a homeowner, I oftentimes would ride around the wealthy neighborhoods in my car and just dream. Dream big. Get a vision. I read around Masters Lane, which is a beautiful multi-million-dollar community on a beautiful golf course in Chesapeake. Famous, recording artists like Chauncey Black, Teddy Riley, all these people had homes out there. So I was just riding around. Never had a cop stop me. Never had a cop stop me. But I have had cops look at me. Like, why you in this neighborhood, boy? But they never stopped me. But you're going to find that one cop that's going to stop you all because you wanted to dream. Are you going to find that Ken or that Karen that's always going to ask you, why are you in this neighborhood? If I put my son in the stroller and walk that neighborhood, me and my son, no threat, that somebody would still harass me. Because you just got people that's sick in the mind like that. You got police officers that's sick in the mind of that. So, Governor Kemp, why aren't you passing laws to deal with people like that that's working in the police department? It's always laws protecting police officers but not protecting the community. Always laws protecting police officers but not protecting black people. Now this the terrible bill was drafted as a direct swipe at Georgians participating in the Black Lives Matter protests who are as certain for their constitutional rights, said Andrew Young, Executive Director of America's Civil Liberties Union, Georgia chapter. So me exercising my right to protest, you're going to use that as a way of punishing me, locking me up, throwing away the keys so you can pack up your prisons. You're going to use that, the power of the protest. The first responders protectors stirred passions on both sides in the waning days of 2020 legislative session when they were tacked onto a separate hate crime bill in June. The hate crimes measure, House Bill 426, created enhanced penalties for crimes committed based on a victim's race, gender, sex, and other demand. So House Bill 426 protects people But it still don't talk about the punishment to police officers if they do attack innocent people. The landmark legislation gained bipartisanship support in the General Assembly. Kemp signed the hate crime bill after the first responders' protections were pulled and added to House Bill 838 by State Rep. Bill Hitchens, Republican Rincon, which originally dealt with peer counseling for police officers. So, according to this, they tried to put that his legislation in the hate crime bill, making it where, okay, you're not going to be doing this to the community, and the community is not going to do this to you. Now, I get that, but I want to know about the laws that either one of you have pushed just to deal strictly with the police who apprehend somebody, detain them, and they are harmed while they're detained, or they're harmed while they're being apprehended. The maneuver, largely led by Georgia Senate Republican leaders, angered Democratic lawmakers and social justice warriors or advocates who viewed it as a slap in the face for black communities and other groups that have historically faced hateful and discriminatory crimes, including from police officers themselves. The bill's opponent urged Kemp to issue a veto during the weeks since the police protection bill cleared the General Assembly by largely party line votes in late June. In particular, the ACLU has argued that the bill could inadvertently water down existing penalties for crime committing against police, noting prison time could be limited to a maximum of 5 years for crimes as served as murdering an officer. So there could be times and crimes against people with no minimum sentence or maximum sentence. But for police officers, you can get up to 5 years for the crime. In their haste to silence Georgians' demands for police accountability, the state legislature has produced a several flawed bill that may substantially reduce penalties for deliberately killing a police officer, Young of the ACLU said in June. Now, look, folks, I don't want bills to be reduced if you kill a police officer and you have no real motive. You know, if you feel your life is threatened, you have a right to defend yourself no matter who's coming after you. But you can't be outright attacking police officers, attacking firefighters and things like that, and they cannot be outright attacking you. Let me finish. Supporters, meanwhile, have pointed out the bill also creates statewide rules on investigating complaints made against police officers and allows officers to sue those who file false complaints. Now, look, I am all for suing people who falsely call the police on you, complaining about you. I am for that across the board. I'm for that. If somebody filed a false complaint on a police officer, you should be sued. But if the complaint is legit, then that police officer need to be dealt with. It's disappointing that supporting law enforcement officers have become a partisan issue, House Speaker David Ralston said. Republican from Blue Ridge said Wednesday, "We value and stand with men and women who wear the badge in Georgia, and House Bill 838 demonstrates that unequivocally." Well, David Ralston from Blue Ridge. Sound like you one of them good old boys. Of course it's a partisan issue. They made it partisan. See, you live in a small town, Ralston. You probably live in the Blue Ridge Mountains, up in the upper hills of Georgia. Small town. Your cousin, your uncle, your brother may be he may be a sheriff there, a deputy. But when you live in New York like me, when it is on record from the police officers themselves that we're pressured to get up our quotas, we're pressured to stop you, we're even pressured to go into the low income community versus the high income community, because we were told that most of the crime is there in the low income community, not the high income community. So your job is to stop, harass, badger, poke, prong, whatever, so you can get your quotas up, and that can lead to aggressive behavior, because I'm tired of you stopping me. You stopped me, then you just stopped me 3 hours ago, man. Why are you stopping me again? See, all these stuff lead to aggression, and that aggression could have that police officer think, "Why you being aggressive to me? You threaten I can't take I can't take this. I'm a punk. I can't take your aggression. I'm gonna pull out my gun and shoot you, or I'm gonna beat you up and I'm gonna arrest you. I'm gonna put my knee on you until you cry for your mama till you die." Where's the laws for that? Where's your support for people like that? I unequivocally support Blue. Look, I wanted to be a cop one day when I first got in the military. Small town, Suffolk, Virginia, all that, not that much crime, ride around, get the cat out the tree, dog fall in a well. Easy job. But one day somebody broke in the store. I'm walking down the street. I saw this opportunity to try to get in good. I called the police and tell them, "Yo, it looked like somebody broke in the store." Guess who they arrested? Guess who they took downtown? I told the cops, I came down here because I wanted to be a police. I saw that, and me wanting to be a police, of course, I'm going to report it. Man, I don't even want to be a cop here now because you profiled me. Supporters, meanwhile, have pointed out the bill also creates statewide rules investigating complaint made against police officers and allow police to sue those who file false complaint. Shortly after the bill passage in June, Lieutenant Governor Gov Duncan called it necessary to help distinguish between officers who have violated the public trust on the job from those who have carried out their duties properly. That is important. At the time when officers feel under siege, what about the community? What about the people? They don't feel under siege? Why do you think they're out there on the streets? When police fear political motivated prosecution, when extreme voices are called to defund the police, our state must stand up for those who put their lives on the line for us, according to Gov Duncan. Listen here, Lieutenant Duncan. When people hit the streets, it ain't politically motivated. It ain't got nothing to do with Donald Trump. You look at me, Donald Trump, worst thing that happened as president, and so is Joe Biden. Two elderly, old, white bigots. And I could deal with an elderly, older white man being president, as long as his heart is right. But you got two bigots. In this election, the vote it was the lesser of the two bigots. That's what it was. And the reason that the Democrats, that this ticket got the biggest voter count in all of history is because they fear-mongered you that this guy was going to be the next Hitler and going to kill all you black people when there was no evidence of him showing that. I mean, honestly speaking, there was no evidence showing that he was going to kill all black people. I don't care how much of a liar he is, and he is. There's no evidence. The man's not smart enough to do that. And don't get me wrong. He's one of those dumb smart people, but he can't pull that off. It take a sick genius mind to pull that off. And with the coronavirus killed this campaign. But make no mistake, you still voted for a bigot. And I'm always say that. Make no mistake, you voted for a bigot and you voted for one of his black flunkies who he's going to hide behind. See, Kamala Harris is the type of person that'll do stuff like this. She have done stuff like this, pushed and side with legislation that's going to protect the police officers. She has protected her police officers while they did things to black people. Just like Rahm Emanuel protected police officers while they did harm to black people. Joe Biden came up with the bill that allowed him to do this crap, hurt black people, and protect them, protect the police officers, armed them, militarized them. So, folks, what I'm saying is, you got to understand, these people on both sides do not have your best interests at heart. And I hate to say this, but you're going to find out the hard way. I wish people can get it now. But these people do not have your best interests in heart and will never have your best interests in heart. So what do? Like I said, you got to detach yourself from these party affiliations, be an individual, and look at them from the outside. You cannot see what's going on the inside of you. See, when there's things internally that can happen inside your body that you cannot see. But until that doctor put a microscope from the outside and he goes inside, with a microscope, he can see what's going on. You yourself can't see what's going on in the body because you're part of the body. But somebody from the outside can look in and see what's going on. And that's how it is in this day and time when it comes to voting and pushing power and getting things done. It's better to be on the outside looking in and calling it as it is so you can get help. Governor Kemp, Brian Kemp, is a bigot. He's a racist. And he's the governor of Georgia. And he's all for blue. I'm for blue, but not at the expense of the community, because the community is the foundation of blue. The whole purpose of police is to protect the community from hurt and harm, not to hurt and harm the community, to protect themselves. And it's okay to pass legislation that's going to deal with people that's going to on purpose target. And you have to prove that they on purpose target these police officers. You can't say politically motivated things like that. Most of these things that happen in the street are not politically motivated. It's people that are frustrating. In terms like defund the police is the proper term. It just need to be explained what defund the police actually mean. And no matter how many times we've already explained it, people on the right is going to make a mockery of it. People on the left is going to, in the center is going to make a mockery of it. People on the left may make a mockery of it. The bottom line is you're putting too much money in the wrong places when it comes to this police department. Some people outright want to get rid of the police department. Now that's dumb. That's stupid. I'm not for getting rid of the police. I'm for more proficient community police, meaning we would like to have people from our community to become police officers that can represent our community and protect our community. From our community now, not one that you pick to represent my community. I mean, I don't mind Officer Xing Wen to come into my community as a police officer, but the main police officer have to be Officer Jake, because Jake grew up in the neighborhood. Jake mama over there owned the barbecue spot over there. I know Jake. I went to school with Jake. But to put these laws out here that's going to punish those who allegedly attack police officers or anybody that's a responder, and not be harder on those who, because understand this, there's some firefighters, bigotry is everywhere. Now, I could pull up stories of firefighters who saw a black man in a house burning up and he didn't want to risk his life going to get him. What is he to me? I'm not going in there to get him. I act like it. Or I can go on and on. You got people working in the pharmaceutical industry that probably don't like black people, and they'll probably put the wrong kind of medication in the bottle. That's why I'm not a fan of prescriptions. Don't trust you, dude. You got doctors who will operate under you while you're under the nose. You don't know what they're doing to you or what they're putting in you. I'm not a fan of inoculation. I'm not a fan of vaccines, because you don't know what they're going to do to you. They always talk about, well, we need to know where this is going to go, who needs this the most, who's hurt the most. All right, we're going to give first shot's going to go out to the black community, black and brown community. Let's say that. So you're going to send the first vaccine to the black and brown community. Black and brown people, do you trust that? The whole point of this video is they're trying to pass the laws to really overly protect the police officers and underly protect you. And if you violate it, you're going to feel the heat of it. My thing is, you need to call your local state senator and find out what's going on with defunding the police and dealing with police brutality. And you need to make a demand to that senator, that legislator, that you want stark punishment for those who kill somebody, either through apprehension or through detainment. Somebody die in their custody, they need to be not only fired, but investigated. You can suspend them with no pay until the investigation is done, but if he's found guilty, he need to get stark punishment. And he don't need to go to a police-friendly jail. He need to be in jail just like everybody else. Now, you can pass all these laws all you want, Kemp, or anybody else that's governor. You can sign them off, but you're still wrong. Shame on you for overly protecting police and not protecting the people in the community when it comes to police from police. Where's the bill that says, look, you police officer, deputy, law enforcement, or whatever, you will not be this way toward the community. If there is somebody who's detained or arrested and they die in your custody or they're abused in your custody, we will not only put you in suspension without pay, we will investigate, and if you found guilty, we will lock you up for a minimum 10 years. Minimum 10 years. If they die, for life. And you will go to general populated prison system. You're not going to be tucked to the side. And your pension and everything will go back to the state. Anyway, I'm Rob Brown with the Rob Report. I said call your congressman, call your state assemblyman. Find out about this current laws dealing with policing, the laws that protect first responders and police, and the laws that protect the community from first responders and police. See if they're in existence. And if they're not existent, it's time that you start pushing it. I'm Rob Brown with the Rob Report. I'll holler at you later. I love you guys. Peace.